Jimmy Baker mentioned my favorite, our favorite, Winston Churchill. There's a book that I want you to read called The Last Lion Alone, story of Churchill from 32 to 1940. Brought my book, it's underlined, it's got pages that are, Joanne and I were riding back on the plane, and I said, Joanne, I've introduced Ronald Reagan as George Gipp. I've introduced Ronald Reagan as St. Thomas, or Sir Thomas More. I've introduced him as Alexander the Great and Philip Macedonia. I've introduced him as a revolutionary, a radical, a neoconservative, a progressive conservative, and a Republican. I've introduced him with footballs. I've introduced him in every human way, and this is my last chance to do it officially. So, from The Last Lion, the words of Winston Churchill 50 years ago, 2 months ago, after Munich, when on the floor of the House of Commons, Churchill said, "All is over. Silent, mournful, abandoned, broken Czechoslovakia recedes into darkness. She has suffered in every respect by her association with the Western democracies." But he said, "Do not suppose that this is the end." He said, "This is only the beginning of the reckoning." He said, this is the first sip, the first foretaste of a bitter cup, which will be proffered to us year by year. Unless," he said, September 1938, 50 years and 2 months ago, Churchill ended his speech in the House of Commons by saying, "Unless, by a supreme recovery of our moral health and our martial vigor, we arise again and take our stand for freedom." As in the olden time, Churchill rallied the Western democracies all by himself. Ladies and gentlemen, with all due respect to Winston Churchill and with all due respect to William Manchester, who wrote The Last Lion, Churchill was not the last lion of the 20th century. He's with us tonight. Ronald Wilson Reagan, the last lion of the 20th century. It's my honor to introduce him, the President of the United States of America.
When you talk about Jack Kemp, one word comes to mind: the cause. Wherever he is, he'll fight for that cause. He'll work for that cause. And what unites every single soul in this room is our shared commitment to that cause. Jack Kemp has already fought and won more battles than most men dream of. But I also remember that on the last Saturday before the election, Jack and I were out campaigning for George Bush. And we met up in Macomb County, Michigan. It was a cold and rainy morning, but once we were inside the hall, Jack spoke to the crowd first, and he fired them up. I heard that audience respond to him, and when they told me that was that Jack Kemp's future is even greater than what's already passed. His greatest game has not yet been played. His longest touchdown pass has not yet been thrown. Jack's fond of saying that this administration gave America back its future. Well, if I can return the compliment, Jack, I would just like to say that your ideas helped fuel us to go further into the future than we ever dreamed possible. So to you, and to Joanne and your wonderful family, that is so much a reflection of your love and spirit. You have our gratitude. And come January, when I saddle up and ride off into the sunset, it'll be with the knowledge that we've done great things. We kept faith with a promise as old as this land we love and as big as the sky, a brilliant vision of America as a shining city on a hill. Thanks to all of you, and with God's help, America's greatest chapter is still to be written, for the best is yet to come. Thank you all, and God bless you.